But the problem comes from the Long March 5B, the low Earth orbit configuration. The 5B does not have a second stage to put objects in orbit. This means the core stage serves as the first and upper stages. Typically, the first stage of a rocket does not reach orbital velocity, and the smaller upper stage burns up during re-entry. However, because the Long March 5B has no upper stage, the entire 21 core stage needs to reach orbital velocity, and it stays there for days until drag from the upper atmosphere pulls it back down to Earth. Unlike small second stages that burn up, this large metal rocket does not, and it enters the atmosphere with zero control. This uncontrolled process needs global attention. Falling objects from space don't care about human borders. Between 2021 and 2022, 3 of these uncontrolled entries were needed to build the Tiangong space station. These re-entries are now the 4th, 5th, and 6th largest uncontrolled re-entries in history. They follow the Columbia re-entry, the Skylab deorbit, and the Salyut 7 deorbit. Debris from one re-entry landed in the Ivory Coast, and the latest re-entry resulted in France closing down the airspace over Corsica, and a number of European cities had to be alerted of potential falling debris. These rocket parts have a large area to fall into, and the probabilities that they hit a large dense area are pretty low, but simply letting 21 tons of spare parts land uncontrollably is a pretty irresponsible design choice. Or, as NASA's administrator put it, spacefaring nations must minimize the risks to people and property on Earth of re-entries of space objects and maximize transparency regarding those operations. While China has made some questionable choices in rocket design, their goals and achievements can't be ignored. They built their own positioning system in response to the US jamming a Chinese ship's GPS that was accused of carrying chemical weapon materials to Iran. Between 2000 and 2003, China sent 4 satellites to a geostationary orbit that covered only China. Then, when the European Space Agency pulled out of a positioning partnership out of fear that it would empower the Chinese military, China launched 65 more satellites between 2010 and 2020, making the Chinese constellation the largest global positioning constellation in orbit, twice the size of the USA's. And their system comes with a small upgrade that, in the hands of a totalitarian government seeking to collect data on its users, might ring some alarm bells. The Chinese Space Agency has also built an incredibly successful lunar exploration program. Starting in 2007, they put 2 probes in orbit around the moon, Chang'e 1 and 2, which created a high-definition 3D map of the moon and tested tracking and